Well, what better place to introduce today? This is a cracker, Lake Macintosh. So we had last night, and a first for us, we actually camped at a golf club. Yep, the Rosebery Golf Club. A nice little lawned area right on the edge of, I'm not sure which fairway it was, but we packed in underneath some pine trees. And it was a lovely spot. So the night there, we got up this morning, it's about 11 degrees, so the days are quite nice, but quite cool temperatures. Excuse me, quite cool temperatures overnight currently. So we're hoping that it's going to warm up. So that was last night. Tonight, or today, we're heading to a place called Camp Elsewhere, which is on the west coast. Now there's a long weekend in Tassie this weekend. We've got some friends from some time back. We're catching up with them and we're going to camp over there. So we will head from Rosebery up through Tulla, Waratah, back down through to Savage River, and then there's a link road that takes us back up through towards Tema and Kuta Rocks, where we'll catch up with our friends. So an interesting day, but we've just seen this on the side of the road, so we thought we'd bore in and have a look. And as I said, what better place to introduce the day? Lake Macintosh is one of the most beautiful lakes in the region. At 17.5 kilometres long and situated 5 kilometres from Tulla, the lake and surrounding country is magnificent, with myrtle, sassafras and eucalypt forests along with native ferns growing almost to the lake's edge. Created in 1980, the main basin of the lake was originally a buttongrass swamp prior to its inundation. It is impounded by two dams, the main Macintosh Dam and the smaller Tullabine Dam. The lake's deepest point is roughly 60 metres at the base of the main dam, and it is one of the largest sized water impoundments of the Pieman power scheme. The road we're currently on is known by many names: the C249, the Western Explorer, or the Road to Nowhere. This deliciously remote route through dense forest and buttongrass plains crosses the Tarkine wilderness and has the feel of a true adventure that connects the Arthur River and Corinna. It's around 130 kilometres long and will take us around 2.5 hours. Well, we've just stopped for lunch, and that was I'm going to say it, one of the best drives that we've done since we've been down here. So it's the road from Waratah through Savage River and then out to basically where Corinna is. And the last section is just like driving through an enchanted forest. You know, we went for that walk yesterday and to Montezuma Falls, and this is just like a drive through the same sort of thing. Sassafras, there's blackwood, myrtle, absolutely, I'm going to say it, spectacular. Just amazing. The scenery continues to change from dense rainforest to expanses of button grass plains. The road is mainly gravel with a couple of quite steep sections that have been sealed, I'd suggest for safety reasons.
When you look at clouds, do you see faces as I do? Do you get caught by your own thoughts like I do? Wonder what would happen if I showed these words to you. Wonder if you laugh at my simple poetry. Or even worse, would you look at me with pity in your eyes, saying I'm great and that you would like to be my friend? 'Cause you got something that my heart just can't ignore, that I've never felt before. And if you go, I wanna go there with you.
Arriving at Camp Elsewhere, we got ourselves all set up. It's a short walk along a sandy track to a rocky outcrop and stunning beach. There we sat and watched another western sunset.
Wonder if you think about escaping, or do you like the way the sun is dancing in the fall? Maybe you find some peace of mind, maybe not. If I had the courage to address you with my speech, yes, if I was brave enough.
After a hearty breakfast, we were on our way to do some exploring. The first job was to wear down for the tracks ahead. The Sandy Cape track is a real mixture of surfaces. 1 minute you're on shale and coarse gravel, then you're making your way through what looks like tea tree swamp, then it's up soft sandy dunes, with glimpses of the blue waters of the Indian Ocean appearing from time to time. Wow, what a mixture.
So John, we're driving on the Sandy Cape track, is that correct?
We are, Liz.
Hang on, wait a minute.
Yes, we are, Liz. It's about, I think, to pop out onto the track.
Is this what you expected
Well,
on
it's
the track?
just, yeah, not really. I expected it to be a little bit wetter than this, but as they boys said, they haven't had an awful lot of rain, so. But it's a little bit of everything. It's rocky and bony, and it's sandy and packed. Yeah, so it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Yeah, here we go, we're just about to pop out onto the beach now. After some consultation about the overgrown tracks that we intended to take, it was decided to leave the cruiser back on the beach and jump in with some of the others for this part of the trip. I don't know what to say. I'm kind of pleased we didn't bring the cruiser. It would have been fun, but yeah. We got a great view of an old abandoned airstrip that was used to transport fish from the west coast. From here, we headed off to find a spot for lunch. What's clicking? This is where local knowledge becomes an advantage, and we ended up at a stockman's cottage tucked discreetly in amongst the tea tree bush. While having something to eat, I was told about some plane wreckage that was scattered in the bush close to where we were. This obviously sparked my attention, so I headed off to see what I could find. So that's the wing off a DC-3 many years ago, and I'll do a bit of research and see if I can actually find out what date it was and when it actually was. They used to land DC-3 here to take the crayfish out. It was a little dirt runway, and for whatever reason this one had trouble taking off and actually crashed on takeoff. So apparently nobody died in the accident, but there's still a little bit of debris about from the crash. It's amazing what you find when you get in hooked up with some good locals and have a bit of a good look around. After lunch, the plan was to make it out to the Sandy Cape Lighthouse and then find somewhere for a swim. There you go, we've made it to Sandy Cape, or in fact the Sandy Cape Lighthouse. The views from one of the world's loneliest lighthouses are absolutely stunning. Although with the increasing number of tourists up to the challenge to reach the Cape, this may not be so anymore. The weather in this region can be unpredictable, and like most places along the coast of the Tarkine, is often pounded by the roaring 40s, a name given to the latitudes between 40 degrees south and 50 degrees south because of the boisterous and prevailing westerly winds, and they sure were blowing today. The lighthouse was never manned, however I did try to find out what I could when it was changed from gas to power, but to my surprise how little is actually known about this, apart from it being operational in May 1870. Sandy Cape is a large headland which was once home to the Tarkuna Aboriginal people, from which the region derived its name. It was their home for several thousand years, and today there's evidence of huge shell middens, hut depressions and many significant cultural relics, which bear testimony to the life they once led. The Cape is surrounded by magnificent granite boulders, creating a number of sheltered and secluded swimming pools, of which we were about to find. Well, a day out at Sandy Cape wouldn't be complete unless someone gets bold, right? Luckily, with a bit of persuasion, the Nissan self-extracted. On the return trip, we stopped in to take a look at some unique petrographs that bear witness to the early Aboriginal life in this part of the country. I'm not sure how I feel about today. On one hand, I'm kicking myself that we didn't spend more time on the west coast for the 40 odd years that we lived here. But it just goes to show that there are still places that we can visit for the first time. Well, what a cracking day down at Sandy Cape.
Oh, I know.
We drove down to, I don't know what the place was, we ended up leaving our 300 there. Like I said, the track was extremely overgrown, and so we ended up
Back up there.
Phil and Lee. Thank you very much.
Yes.
So we got to do the rest of the trip. Then come back, just put the car up, and we're heading back to camp. But to go down there, there's all these lovely little hidden bays. It's just typical of sort of come to know it's the Tasmanian Wild West Coast.
Certainly is. Has lived up to its reputation.
It has, you know, and it's stuff that's hidden. We've got that plane. All right, cheers, guys.
Catch you later.
All packed up. Thanks for sharing this weekend with us, guys. We had a great time. But we must move on, and today Ken and Lorinda heading back to Launceston, and our destination was Strahan for a few days. So it was back onto the Western Explorer and headed for Corinna. We were so lucky we did get to experience all three regions of the Tarkine. The pristine, lush, emerald green forests, the spectacular coastline, and the rugged and dramatic mountains. It would be fair to say that there are few places left that can be truly described as wild and untouched, but the remote Tarkine is one of these places and remains one of Tasmania's greatest treasures. Well, here we are, back, basically where we sort of started our big adventure for the long weekend.
On Friday, yes.
On Friday. So we turned right here and went up towards Balfour and the Arthur River, and then we've spent a long weekend up there, which you'll see bits of, and now we've been fortunate enough to come back down the Western Explorer Road it's called.
Yes.
It's such a pretty drive.
Oh, it is.
So we didn't begrudge doing it the second time at all. But from this point we now turn right and head to Corinna and then into Zeehan. So we're looking forward to this little bit of our adventure.
Because we've never been this far.
No, we've not. Not at all.
Even when we lived here,
No,
we never came this far.
We didn't.
So
all right.
this is all interesting.
All right, it is. So we'll head off and we'll see you guys down the road somewhere. Cheers.
Bye.
We make our way to Corinna and the barge known as the Fat Man. It is the only cable-driven vehicular barge remaining in Tasmania, and it takes us across the stunning Pieman River. The crossing takes about 5 minutes and the carrying capacity is 6 tonnes. The village of Corinna sits on the southern end of the Tarkine and is the northernmost point where the famous hue and pine grows. Corinna today gives us no sign that it was once a throbbing west coast hub to hundreds of people. The respect for the heritage is captured in the remaining buildings, interpretive signage, and in particular the old pub, which is now a guest cottage, which played a significant part in the town's history. A timeless lifestyle and fragile resource balance was disrupted in the early 1800s when marauding sealers operating further north stole natural resources, kidnapped women and introduced diseases. Worse was to come following the establishment of the huge Van Diemen's Land Pastoral Company in the northwest in 1825, which catastrophically disrupted a way of life that had continued undisturbed for thousands of years. Corinna was inhabited by white settlers in 1881 and proclaimed a town in 1894, following a flood of people coming to the area in pursuit of gold. Then it was our turn.
Thank you.
You can get out if you like.
Oh, cool. Yeah, we'll film it if we get. Yeah, no.
Well, the paperwork's a nice.
I'm sure it is. Well, here we are, just on the other side of the river at Corinna, about to get off. Just pulling up now and dropping the deck down for us. Whoa, neat. Neato.
Once we got to the southern side, there are a couple of graves we can visit. These are of old gold diggers / publicans, Gamaliel Webster and Thomas Davis, who made hotelling a family affair by marrying sisters. Having dragged much of his old pub back from Trial Harbour, Webster operated the bar and his wife Lyndall the accommodation at Corinna Hotel on the northern side of the river. Thomas and Amy Davis shared duties at John Foster's Star Hotel on the southern side, and Thomas also served as the ferryman. Their original headstones were made out of hue and pine, but have been removed and are on display in the Queen Victoria Museum in Launceston. They have been replaced by replicas.
No movement in it.
Good.
No, I'm good.
Slow down, mama, why you talk so mean?
The next stop was the Reece Dam, which was just a few kilometres off the Corinna Zeehan Road. The drive across the dam is unique, providing wonderful views of the surrounding areas and the dam wall. The one-lane road runs across the top of the dam wall, and driving across this is quite a thrill. Both the power station and the dam are named in honour of Eric Reece, the Premier of Tasmania between 1958 and 69, and again between 1972 and 75. Eric was an enthusiastic proponent of hydroelectric development in Tasmania. The power station was commissioned in 1986 and 87. It is part of the Pieman River scheme that comprises 4 hydroelectric power stations, the Reece power station being the final station in the scheme before the water runs out to the sea.
Double down, throw some dice, take off now, don't think twice, but hey, don't you want to play?
Wow, look at those amazing reflections. So still.
Tell me where you want to go, but baby, I don't work down there anymore. No, I don't.
As we arrive into Zeehan, we notice the sign that says Spray Tunnel, which piques our interest. The road takes you out past the golf course, then becomes quite narrow before you arrive at your destination. The tunnel is an abandoned railway tunnel that was carved through the hill so that ore could be moved from the mine. The tunnel is unusually shaped, like a keyhole, approximately 3 metres high, 2.2 metres wide and 100 metres long. Once through the tunnel, you'll find the relics of buildings and abandoned boilers, a gentle reminder of the West's mining past.
These are the relics from the old spray tunnel. You got this area fenced off. This was the access to the actual access to the mine. Back in its day, 1901. Yeah, all fenced off. Holes in the ground here everywhere.
We stop in at the West Coast Heritage Centre in Zeehan. This place is absolutely amazing, with history from the old mining days, a blacksmith shop, the hydroelectric system, rail history of the area and even some working models. There is truly something here for everyone and you will easily burn up a couple of hours.
Morning, Liz.
Morning, John.
Well, if we look a bit windblown, well, yes, we are. Wow, Tasmanian summers, I forgot how great they are.
Or unpredictable.
Sticking hot one day, and then today we're going to get to a top of about 16. 29 yesterday, 16 today.
Yep.
Oh,
And windy.
I think they're getting closer to Melbourne. Yeah, and so today, one of the things that was on my bucket list to do while we were here, and that's to do the Apt Railway in Strahan. So we got into Strahan last night, got all set up after a few hiccups in the caravan park. They finally found another spot. Somebody had actually set up in the wrong spot. So they found us another spot, which has worked out okay. So today we're going to do the Apt Rail, and yeah, we'll hope you guys come along. Don't know quite what to expect. It's not what it used to be. It used to go all the way through to Queenstown, and then they brought you back on a bus. But that doesn't happen anymore. I think some of the lines been damaged in landslide slips and things. So it only goes for a couple of hours, is my understanding, and then turns around and comes back. So that'll be cool. That's all right.
Yep. We see some of the wilderness.
And we'll get to see some of the wilderness, and I won't be driving through it like we've been the last few days. That's about it, really. Yeah, that's basically today, and then we've got a few bits and pieces this afternoon. There's still a bit of stuff to have a look at Strahan. We probably won't be venturing to the beach for a swim, given the weather.
It's freezing cold.
It's absolutely freezing cold.
Anyway.
All right. Well, we'll enjoy, and you enjoy, and we'll see you through the day. Cheers, guys.
Bye.
Well, here's a bit of history on the railway. It was officially opened in 1897 and again on the 1st of November 1899 when the line was extended to Regatta Point in Strahan. The railway was the only way to get copper from the mine at Queenstown to markets, until in 1932 the road link was completed to Hobart. The railway utilised the Apt rack and pinion system for steep sections. Because of the gradients, the tonnage was always limited on the rail. The original line continued into the Mount Lyell mining operations area in Queenstown, and at Regatta Point the line linked between the foreshore of Strahan to link up with the government line to Zeehan. The railway ceased operation on the 10th of August 1963 due to the increased maintenance costs and the improvement of road access to the west coast from the north with the opening of the Murchison Highway. The last train run was hauled by the same locomotive that ran the first service, number 1, in 1896, which was the first engine to steam into Queenstown. Most bridges remained intact but fell into disrepair, and the route was unsuitable for vehicular access beyond the iron bridge that crosses the King River at the location of the early port of Pieman. More on the railway later. Once we arrived at Lower Landing, our turnaround point, we were treated to a tasting of local honey, and you could also purchase sausage rolls etc. from the small cafe. There is also a short walk that can be undertaken with a briefing from one of the guides.
Let's try some leatherwood honey.
Alright, so if anyone's interested in the guided walk and isn't sick of my voice already, you just head up the end of the platform here, make your way down towards the river, there's a clearing down there.
Heading down to the river walk to learn a little bit more about the King River and all the things that happened at the stop. No entry.
The engine coming. Yeah.
After the loco had changed ends, we all jumped aboard, and with the whistle blowing, we were on our way home. Despite numerous proposals post-1963, it was not until the 1990s, after the demise of the Mount Lyell Company mining operations and the downgrading of Hydro Tasmania's activities of dam building on the west coast, that some very committed local West Coast people campaigned for the restoration of the App Railway as a heritage tourism attraction featuring the unique rail system and the community's mining history. The restoration of the App Railway was made possible through the allocation of federal and state governments and some private investment. The restored railway commenced operations on the 27th of December 2002 as the Apt Wilderness Railway. The new terminus in Queenstown is on the site of the original station yard, and the station at Regatta Point terminus has been renovated. The railway follows its original alignment, except for the quarter-mile bridge near Tipekana. The old bridge was washed away in a flood in 1974, with the new bridge just south of the original. As of June 2024, the railway was operating two services, one out of Queenstown and the other out of Strahan. The full length of the track is currently undergoing maintenance, with the inner section being renovated. So hopefully, in the not too distant future, the service will run the complete circuit again. But for now, let's sit back and enjoy this spectacular scenery.
There you go, we're back having a bit of lunch after the ride on the train. What a awesome way to see the rainforest. There's an awful lot of history in what they've just shown us. What I might do is try and break it down. Well, hopefully I've broken it down into little bits, when it started, when it finished, when the mine sold it, when it became a tourist venture, and how that all unfolded. So looking forward to the next bit of our little trip here in Strahan. We're off to see the ship, what is it called? The Ship That Was. It's a little play that they do. Looking forward to seeing that tonight. So this afternoon we've got a bit of editing to do, a bit of downloading to do. Liz has got a few housekeeping things. So we're just going to enjoy this little bit of sun, and we are in a nice little sheltered spot at the moment anyway at Strahan. So yeah, we should catch up on some stuff that we've been a little bit slack on. Alright guys, thanks for joining us, and we'll catch you soon. Bye.
If you're in Strahan, this is a must-do. It was absolutely freezing the night we were there, but they supplied blankets and a stunning performance that kept us engaged so as not to think about how bloody cold it was. Up early this morning, we headed out to Ocean Beach for a look. I didn't take the bathers. Look at us. Jeans, jumpers, and even vests.
can't see much because of the sea mist. It's a bit windy again today, but yeah, we're out here on the Ocean Beach, which is to the west of Strahan. You can see the Macquarie Lighthouse, the Macquarie Point Lighthouse in the distance. Yeah, very nice, very nice. Yeah, well, we've had to stop numerous times this morning just to check on this right-hand wheel carrier. We had a bit of an issue on Friday when we got up to our campsite where it nearly decided to detach itself from the bloody bumper bar. So we've just got to keep an eye on it. We've done a bit of MacGyvering, and so we're just checking it periodically till we get into Hobart, and then hopefully they can do something with it. Anyway, upwards and onwards.